Hi folks, my name is Larry Crisp. Last year I released a video called The End of MLM and feel it's time to bring you an update on what's transpired since then. If you didn't see it, you can view it at ENDofMLM.com. After releasing The End of MLM, my old MLM company threatened to sue me over it. If you recall, I didn't mention the name of the company I was associated with or even my name in hopes that it wouldn't draw negative attention to them. For that matter, I hadn't been a distributor with them for 3 years. It was clear that I had hit a sensitive nerve, and one that all the product-oriented, endless chain recruiting companies don't want you to hear. Just to recap, conceptually I love MLM. The idea of empowering the little guy with a business of their own for a small investment up front is great. And I believe most people that are involved are legitimately good people that want to help others. But in my 2 decades of experience, when the rubber hit the road, over 99% of those that signed up for a business opportunity ended up spending more than they made. Even knowing that most people that get involved won't earnestly pursue it, for those that gave it their all and still came up short and in debt, it was crushing. It was clear to me that the old MLM model is fundamentally flawed and would be fading away. If you aren't familiar with my thesis, review the original video at ENDofMLM.com. For those of you that have seen it, you recall much of my presentation was inspired by Bill Ackman's Wall Street presentation on Herbalife. He believes that it's an unsustainable Ponzi scheme and that its share price would eventually go to zero. What has transpired over the course of the year since then has been what you might call billionaire theater, a battle of billionaire hedge fund managers that have little or no understanding of the grassroots nature of MLM. All these people look at are the numbers and they place their bets. Even Ackman himself bet $1 billion on Herbalife faltering. His analysis, however, did involve a look at how the individual distributors are affected. His view, in my opinion, is correct. Herbalife is not a sustainable model and is a harbinger for all product-oriented, endless chain recruiting MLM companies. Many will argue that Herbalife has been in business for over 30 years. While Bernie Madoff was in business for nearly 50 years and bilked investors out of $65 billion, he's currently serving a 150-year prison sentence. Madoff didn't act alone. Major U.S. banks were complicit in his scheme. J.P. Morgan Chase was fined $1.7 billion for turning a blind eye to the fraud just last month. Of course, no criminal charges have been levied against any bank officials. In my opinion, this is reflective of the attitudes on Wall Street and government regulators. As long as they're making money, they don't care about the little guy. In the case of MLM, the little guy is the distributor. Herbalife and other organizations have spent millions lobbying Congress to maintain the status quo, while the little guys go without much representation. That appears to have changed now, however. Massachusetts Senator Ed Markey is now calling for investigations into Herbalife business practices. So are the Latin American community and Congresswoman Linda Chavez. They are all pressing for FTC and SEC investigations. The Canadian government is now investigating the Herbalife business model. China just recently launched a probe into another MLM, claiming Nu Skin is operating an illegal pyramid scheme. MLM companies count on the spike in revenue that opening new countries can provide. What we used to call in my old stockbroker days a pump and dump. Herbalife distributors are rumored to have dropped by 50% in the U.S. over the last year. What do you suppose will happen as the U.S., Latin America, and Asia all start becoming disenchanted with MLM opportunities? Frankly, I stand by my original thesis. The days of the old model of MLM are over. Whether it just simply fades away as more people become aware or government regulators close them down. For 48 years, Bernie Madoff got away with it. Most of the long-standing legacy-type MLMs haven't even been around that long. But in both cases, I think they are a microcosm of what is happening as the world becomes more technologically savvy. Why would someone want to pay several $100% more for a product sold through a marketing company that oftentimes don't manufacture the products themselves, when you can frequently find the same product or a close facsimile for much less? Just to enrich some upline person they likely don't even know that may live thousands of miles away? There are some exceptions to this, but overall, it does not change the fact that over 99% of people in MLM will spend more than they make. That is the big picture. As I've pointed out in my original video, Most of the MLM wealth has been created with debt borne by the distributors. And just as we see things coming to a head now in the land of the free, this can't last forever. The burden of tens of trillions in debt that will never be repaid and tens of billions of dollars being created by the Fed every month will ultimately be borne by and change the lifestyle of virtually every American. Whether any Wall Street bankers that have been among the primary beneficiaries of all that money will be held to account in any way remains to be seen. Just as an accountability of many MLM companies remains a question. So my cautionary note, for what it's worth, be careful where you invest your hard-earned money, and more importantly, where you invest your time. That you can never create more of. Ayn Rand said, "You can avoid reality, but you cannot avoid the consequences of avoiding reality." MLM reps don't have millions at stake like many of Bernie Madoff's victims did, but relatively speaking, to most people getting involved in MLM, $1,000 might mean making the rent or not. Right now, it's reported that 3 out of 4 people in the US are living paycheck to paycheck. People are desperately seeking alternative ways of earning more money. I do encourage everyone to be looking at ways of developing a business of their own. Learn real skills, build real assets, and contribute to their community by simply becoming better in general. But exercise the appropriate level of skepticism when someone is touting the easy money rolling in on the most recent weight loss product or miracle supplement. The product may be great and even actually work, but should you go into business trying to sell it, right alongside hundreds of thousands of other people that are trying to sell the same thing? I will say this on MLM. It is a great proving ground for developing tenacious leaders, even if they don't hit their financial goals. So, you want to be in a business to make a difference for others and, make some money while you do it, right? The day of the old MLM serves some people very well, myself included. However, technology has rendered the old model obsolete. And just as it is time to wake up to the fact that the investment banks and government don't necessarily have your best interest at heart, old MLMs don't appear to either. Remember what Martin Luther King said, "Nothing in the world is more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity."